Tell a story.
Oh, I could tell you plenty of stories, you know, in my boyhood days. Because I used to listen to the old folks, you know, at Ceilidh, you know, in my own home and in other people's homes.
Young fellows would come in courting my sisters, and that's where they would sing these love songs too, you know.
Well, then, was a young fellow courting you too, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, we had our boyfriends then too.
I heard it long ago, but I didn't. I thought you would remember it the day we were over. Don't think of that. And I like to talk of the time, you know.
Did you ever take part in that yourself?
Only in a play. Used to kick in, I remember they had it in the smithy once. It was cleared out. And we children, I wasn't at it, we were children, we were kicking in through the door.
There'd be a story told and somebody was saying that I knew was very good at it, and we'd be watching the clock, you see, in the old thatched cottage. I would like to stop the spokes and go along and give myself to bed, and I'd behave, you know, like a wee lamb in the corner, hiding behind a chair, listening to
That's the culture. That was emotion. Went on.
Yes.
3. I think it was 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. One to the next.
These were wonderful days. And these were very troubled days. Very much so, I assure you.
You know, she was awfully retiring, my grandmother. She didn't go out among them very much. I think, you know, she'd had such a hard time of it. She'd lost so many of the family that made her retiring, you know.
Well, there wouldn't be many people know about that, but I remember it all right.
Yes, yes.
And there was plenty of bards in the place then. The bards of 2 or 3 in Ballymena, 1 or 2 in Pannetier, all down to the villages. They all made songs for one another. Satirical, most of them. But still the gift was there. It's all gone. Supposing you were to travel Braes now, whether about, there'll be about 15 of them, easy were making songs, not one is left but Callum Rowe. And when I go, I don't see anybody else coming after me to uphold this ancient language. And as I've repeatedly stated, a lovely language. Our literature is beautiful. Our history is as good as any history in Europe. And it makes a person sad when you see it all passing away. And there's nothing one can do to stop it. I don't see anything that can talk about Common Gaelic on the Highland Association. They're doing, I suppose, their very best. But Gaelic's on the decline.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So the voices that you were listening to there, they were taken from our project called Cairn. These are all archival voices taken from throughout the 20th century in Scotland. And it's really just, documentation of the people that are not mentioned or remembered in the history books. It's, the farmers, the teachers, the fishermen, all these type of people. And it's really just them discussing their lives. It's nothing really more than that, and that's really what Scotland is. It's not the poems or the songs that we all play. It is the people that lived in it. And the project was really just a celebration of that. I always say some of my favorite recordings, which I found, were just the ones, the one in particular, way up in the Isle of Barra. There's a couple of old ladies just sharing everything they ever learned with the field worker that had come to chat to them, singing all the songs they'd learned throughout the years, playing all the games they learned as kids, and playing all the tunes learned on the fiddle. And they were doing it all so badly, but they were just so happy to share it with the person that had come to see them. And it was just such a lovely thing to listen to. And it's an archive that exists and it's to the public, and not many people seem to know about it. And it's actually based here in Edinburgh. It's the School of Scottish Studies, but they also have an online version called Tober and Dulcus, which you can listen to all of these things. And there was one story that I came across, which I heard regularly when listening and researching in the archives, and it's to do with the fairies and the fairy hills, and it really makes you wonder whether there's an element of truth to it. How regular they reoccur, no matter where in Scotland it is, and no matter what year it comes from. It's the same story or a very similar story. There's always a tale of someone, like one of their neighbours, getting lost in a fairy hill or something, and I do want to find one of these myself one day and see what happens. So I'd like to tell you one of these versions of the stories that I came across. So it goes like this. There were 3 men on their way to a wedding with a bottle of whiskey in hand. And they were going down the road, and they passed this hill which they knew to be a fairy hill. And they knew that if they were to enter it and get trapped, then they would die. They would never get out again. But from inside the hill, they could hear the most beautiful music, smell the most delicious foods, and hear many people inside having a fantastic time. So naturally, they wanted to join in. They wanted to be part of this. And one of the men, he knew that if he was to put his iron dagger into the door hinge, it would prevent the door from closing, and then they could enter and exit safely. So that's what they did. They opened the door, the men went in, and one of them put his dagger into the hinge, and they had a great night. They ate all the food, they drank all the whiskey, they danced all the Ceilidh songs. They had a wonderful time. But after a few hours had passed, they remembered they were on their way to a wedding and they should probably be on their way again. So they said their farewells. The first man went out the door. The second man went out the door. But as he was leaving, he took his dagger with him. And before the third man could leave, the door slammed shut in front of his face. The two other men, they realized the mistake, they realized what had happened. They turned around, tried to open the door and save their friend, but it was too late. And he had turned into a pile of dust. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen to me whenever I find the fairy hill myself. Hopefully I get out there safely. So going back to the recordings, we have a wonderful woman called Annie Forbes, who is speaking to us from 1963 in Latherin Wheel up in Caithness, and she's just discussing her childhood. It's a wonderful recording and the sort of person that you wish could be part of your life and we need more of in the world these days. So this is Annie Forbes.
You had plenty of fun round the Stooks, Annie, is that right?
Oh, yes, we had great fun round the Stooks. On the moonlight nights especially, you know. Tip and run right and catch your boyfriend or whoever you're playing with. Yes, we had good fun like that. And we had great fun paddling in the barn, of course. Yes, and by the seashore. These were all the things we had to amuse ourselves with. Well, there were nothing else in these days. There were no television nor gramophones even. So, we had happy times.
Of course, Latherin Wheel and was pretty good. And there was the sea and there was the up country and everything.
Yes, we had the hills and the barn and the wooded part. Oh, it was very good. It lent itself well to a happy life, you know. And then it was grand to see the boats coming in to the harbour, the fishermen. And when they came in for the season, all the nets were taken in, you know, and laid down. And we used to have great fun jumping over the nets. All the buttocks, as we call them, the big things that sink in the sea, you know. It was good fun, that.
Oh, that's wonderful. I envy you.
Do you?
I do. That sounds fun.
It was lovely childhood.
Yeah. And who can wonder that you've got all these lovely songs now coming out?
Yes. Well, we often sat round the peat fire, you see, and then the neighbours would come in, and young fellows would come in courting my sisters, and that's where they would sing these love songs too, you know.
Well, then there's a young fellow courting you too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yes, we had our boyfriends then too.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So we just have one more piece for you. And for this one, two things. It's not someone speaking to us from the past, but it's a recording of Birdsong from the Isle of Canna in 1951, 4:15 a.m. on Midsummer's morning. And for this one, I'm going to ask if we can perform in total darkness. We tried it yesterday and it was too dark, but we've got experience now.
I'll tell you something. There, the lake are there. The crow.
Yes.
They change their voice every month. And as the season comes round, you can tell a forehand with the cry or the cross. You can notice the change. And it's a funny thing, I've studied that up since I was a laddie. And you can notice the different behaviour of different birds. Now there's like the Korean crow. That's what we call the hiddy. Well, there's a tree. It's a nice tree. And there's 3 lairds' land meet at this ash tree. Well, they head across. They come from different directions and congregate on this tree. And the carway, the big circular flights, and they get all together again. And after a bit conflop for maybe, say a quarter of an hour or 20 minutes, all disperse the rainways. Now I've noticed this hour and hour again. And I'll tell you a thing, that I would never like to let a spring pass without getting up often and hearing the dawn chorus. Because anybody that's never heard that, then they can what they're missing. For it's life to me.